Okay, so imagine AI that just like knows what you need before you even ask and handles it all without you having to jump between a bunch of different models or settings. Pretty cool, right?
Yeah, definitely futuristic.
But here's the thing. This isn't some wild theory. It's actually straight from OpenAI's or updated AI roadmap.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah, and they're talking about GPT 4.5 and this whole other level, GPT-5. It's like they're admitting, even the CEO, that their AI model lineup is kind of a mess right now. And they're aiming for something way simpler, way more user-friendly.
So basically, admitting the complexity is a problem.
Exactly. So let's get into it. First, there's GPT 4.5,
Uh-huh.
codename Orion. This seems like the last stop before they really change things up.
Interesting.
Basically, it's GPT-4, but better, better performance, more
Like
efficient.
GPT-3 to GPT 3.5, but even more noticeable improvements?
Yeah, exactly.
Especially in like how conversational it is and accuracy.
And get this, OpenAI is planning to release GPT 4.5 pretty soon,
Oh, cool.
so we can get a taste of what they're thinking.
Like a sneak peek.
Yeah, exactly. But the big deal, the main event, is GPT-5. This isn't just an update, it's like a total transformation.
A whole new ball game.
They're calling it a magic unified intelligence.
So no more, separate models for coding or text generation?
That's the idea, one AI for everything.
Wow.
No more deciding which model you need, it just figures it out.
Makes things a lot easier.
Right, it's better for OpenAI too, they can streamline development.
Yeah, wins all around.
It all goes back to that quote from OpenAI's CEO. They want an AI that, and I'm quoting here, knows when to think deeply.
I remember that.
And it can use all its tools effectively.
That's GPT-5.
Okay, so what makes GPT-5 so different, so revolutionary?
Well, they're merging it with all their O-series models, like canceling the O3 release and putting everything into GPT-5.
So all their best tech in one model.
And this is where it gets really interesting. GPT-5 is going to be using chain of thought reasoning.
Chain of thought reasoning.
Basically, it solves problems step by step, like we do. Instead of just giving an answer, it explains how it got there.
That makes a lot more sense.
Makes it much easier to understand.
Yeah, for sure.
And because it can use all these different tools, some experts are saying it's like a router model. It's like orchestrating everything.
So it could like search the web, do calculations, even understand code all at the same time.
Yeah, seamlessly.
Wow, and how does natural language processing fit into all of this?
Well, GPT-5 is going to be trained on way more data and more current data, and it'll be able to understand us even better.
So even more accurate responses.
And more nuance, too.
It's like having like a super smart assistant that speaks our language perfectly.
And has all these tools it can use.
And to top it off, OpenAI is releasing GPT-5 for both ChatGPT and their developer API.
Everyone gets access.
From regular users to developers.
Amazing.
And it's coming out soon in the coming months there.
Shortly after GPT 4.5.
Wow, so we're talking very soon.
It seems like it.
Feels like we're on the edge of a major AI shift. But what about this tiered access they're talking about? Based on subscriptions. What's that all about?
They're experimenting with offering different levels of intelligence for GPT-5, depending on if you're free, Plus, or Pro.
So everyone gets to try it, but if you pay, you get more.
Yeah, you could think of it like sport mode in a car.
You get the basic car, but the paid tiers are like souped up.
That's a good way to put it.
Okay, so what kind of sport mode stuff are we talking about? I've heard rumors about voice interactions and a canvas feature.
Yeah, those are right.
So GPT-5 is going to be more than just text.
You'll be able to talk to it with your voice.
Like Siri or Alexa, but better.
Way better. It can understand the nuances of how we talk.
So it's more like a conversation, like back and forth.
Yeah, exactly.
Not just giving commands.
And that extends to the canvas feature, too.
What's the canvas?
It's for visual interactions. Like, you could sketch something out.
Oh, interesting.
And GPT-5 can understand it, analyze it.
So it's not just about language anymore.
It's about understanding visual concepts, too.
Breaking down those barriers.
It's all part of this AI that just works idea.
Yeah, it's not just separate features. It all works together.
Seamlessly.
And we can't forget about the real-time web search and the deep research stuff.
Right. Instant access to so much knowledge.
No more outdated info.
And it can do more than just summarize.
So it can analyze complex stuff and find insights.
Yeah, like it has a whole research team working for it.
Wow, that's powerful.
It can help us see things we might miss otherwise.
So all of this, it's like GPT-5 is becoming more than a language model. It's becoming a complete AI assistant.
Combining language, visuals, real-time information, everything.
Yeah, it's like all these technologies are converging
to create this really immersive experience.
Okay, let's break down these features a bit more. Starting with voice interactions. We have things like Siri and Alexa now. How is GPT-5 different?
Well, right now, you have to phrase things just right to get what you want. But GPT-5 can understand how we really talk, all the little nuances.
So it's more natural. You can just talk to it.
Exactly.
Like you would a friend.
Right.
And that also applies to the Kansas feature. right?
Yeah, instead of typing, you can make diagrams.
Oh, that's cool.
And GPT-5 gets it.
You could brainstorm visually. It's
Exactly.
like another way of thinking.
It opens up a whole new way of interacting with AI.
It's all about making things more intuitive.
Yeah, no natural.
And that's really what AI that just works is all about,
It
right?
is.
Okay, and then there's the real-time web search and deep research.
Like having all the world's information instantly,
Right at your fingertips.
always up to date.
No more digging around for the right info.
And with the deep research, it can really analyze stuff.
Uncover those hidden connections.
Yeah.
So it's like having a personal research team.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've talked about these different tiers and all these amazing features. But how is OpenAI going to handle people misusing it?
That's a very important question.
Right? Like, what about the ethical side of all this?
OpenAI is really focusing on that.
They're not just thinking about making cool tech. They're thinking about making sure it's used for good.
Right. Like they're talking about abuse thresholds for free GPT-5 access.
Yeah, you mentioned those earlier. What exactly does that mean?
We don't know all the details yet, but it probably means they'll be watching how people use it. And if they see anything suspicious, like harmful content, they'll stop it.
So it's like a safety net.
Yeah, to prevent GPT-5 from being used for bad things.
Makes sense. It's good to know they're thinking about that stuff. Because, with great power comes great responsibility.
Definitely. And this is all especially important as we get closer to AGI.
Right, artificial general intelligence. GPT-5 might not be AGI yet, but it seems like it's a step in that direction. What exactly is AGI? Why is everyone making such a big deal about it?
AGI is basically AI that can do anything a human can.
Oh, okay.
It can reason, solve problems, learn, even be creative.
Wow, that's kind of scary.
It's powerful.
If machines can do all that, what happens to us?
That's the question, isn't it?
Yeah.
It could be amazing, solving huge problems like climate change.
Right.
But there are risks, too.
Like AI becoming smarter than us and taking over.
That's something a lot of people are worried about.
For sure.
We have to be careful. We need to set ethical guidelines, make sure AI is used for good.
We need his conversation now.
Exactly, before it's too late.
Okay, so we've covered a lot. GPT 4.5, GPT-5, AI that just works, even AGI. This is a lot to take in.
It is.
OpenAI's vision is incredible, but it's also a little, I don't know, overwhelming.
It's a lot to think about.
Before we move on, is there anything else from this roadmap that really stood out to you?
What gets me is how ambitious they are. It's not just about improving AI, it's about changing how we relate to it.
It's like they want AI to just blend into our lives.
Become invisible.
Another tool we use without even thinking about it.
Yeah.
That's a pretty radical idea.
It is.
It'll be really interesting to see how they do it.
And what it means for all of us.
Yeah.
It's a big deal. Yeah, it definitely has some big implications. And as AI becomes, more and more part of our lives, it makes you think about who gets access and who doesn't.
Right, like the tiered access for GPT-5 that we talked about. Free plus pro. So what does that actually look like when you're using it? Is it like the difference between a basic car and a luxury car?
That's actually a pretty good way to think about it. The free tier, it's like a solid, reliable car. It gets you from point A to point B, but maybe without all the fancy extras. And then the plus tier is like, okay, now you've got a more powerful engine, a few more features.
Okay, so a smoother ride, maybe some upgrades. What about Pro? That's where we get the, supercharged sports car.
Exactly. Pro is all about unlocking everything GPT-5 can do. Imagine AI that doesn't just understand what you're asking, but can actually anticipate what you need.
So it's giving you insights and solutions you didn't even know you were looking for.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm having a little trouble picturing this.
Sure. So let's say you're writing a historical novel. You could ask GPT-5 to do some research on the time period, give you background info, character ideas, maybe even help you with the plot. Now, someone on the free tier, they might get a basic overview of that era. But a Plus subscriber, they'd get way more detail, maybe even some little-known facts or stories that could really add something to their writing.
So it's not talking about more information, it's about better information.
Right, exactly.
And what about someone on the Pro tier?
Okay, now imagine GPT-5 is analyzing all these historical texts, finding patterns and connections that no one else has noticed. It might suggest completely new storylines or character motivations that even a historian wouldn't think of.
Wow, that's taking research to a whole new level. It's like having an AI co-author.
Right.
Okay, so these tiers basically offer different levels of depth, sophistication. So you can choose what makes sense for you, for your work, for your budget.
Exactly. And don't forget all those cool features we talked about, the voice stuff, the canvas, real-time web search, deep research. They're all part of this tiered system too.
Right, so each tier gets a little something extra. It's like GPT-5 is becoming more than just a language model. It's more like a multi-tool AI assistant.
Yeah, it's using language, visuals, real-time information. It's blending everything together.
Okay, let's break down these features a little more. Let's start with voice interactions. We've got things like Siri and Alexa now. But how is GPT-5 different?
Well, With Siri and Alexa, you have to be really specific with how you ask for things. GPT-5, though, it can actually understand the nuances of human speech.
You can just talk to it naturally.
Exactly, like you're talking to another person.
That's
And
amazing.
it's not just about commands, it's about back and forth, like a real conversation.
Okay, and what about the canvas?
So the canvas is all about visual interaction. Instead of typing, you can sketch things out, draw diagrams, whatever you want.
Oh, interesting.
And GPT-5 can understand it, analyze it.
So it's not just about language anymore.
Right, it's moving beyond that.
So you could brainstorm visually.
Exactly. GPT-5 would help you organize your thoughts, maybe even come up with new ideas based on what you've drawn.
So cool.
It's a whole new way of working with AI.
And then there's the real-time web search and deep research capabilities.
Yeah, imagine having access to all the information in the world, constantly updated.
No more outdated information, no more struggling to find reliable sources.
Exactly. GPT-5 can search the web instantly, and then with the deep research, it can actually analyze complex documents, extract insights, connect the dots in ways that would take humans forever.
It's like having a personal research team that's always on, always working.
Exactly.
Okay, this is all incredible, but I have to ask, with all this power, how do we make sure it's not misused?
That's a crucial question. OpenAI knows that this is a big concern, and they're working on safeguards.
So they're not just thinking about the cool tech, they're thinking about the ethics too.
Exactly. Like they've talked about abuse thresholds for the free version of GPT-5.
Right, to prevent people from doing bad things with it.
Exactly.
Can you give me an example of what that might look like?
Well, they haven't given us all the details yet, but it probably means they'll be monitoring how people are using it, and if they see anything that looks suspicious, like someone trying to create harmful content or spread misinformation, they'll step in.
So it's like a safety net to prevent abuse.
Exactly.
That's good to know, because like we said before, with great power comes great responsibility.
Definitely. And this becomes even more important as we get closer to something like AGI.
Right, artificial general intelligence. GPT-5 might not be AGI yet, but it's getting us closer. Can you remind me what AGI is and why it's such a big deal?
Sure, AGI is basically artificial intelligence that has the same general cognitive abilities as a human being.
So it can do anything we can do.
Pretty much. It can reason, solve problems, learn new things, even be creative and understand emotions.
That's both exciting and a little terrifying. If machines can do all that, what does it mean for us?
That's the million-dollar question. On the one hand, it could be amazing. Imagine solving problems like climate change or ending poverty.
That would be incredible.
But on the other hand, there are risks.
Like AI getting too smart and taking over.
That's a concern a lot of people have.
Yeah, I can see why.
We have to be very careful about how we develop and use AI.
We need to make sure it's aligned with our values and goals.
Exactly. This is a conversation we need to be having right now.
Yeah, before it's too late. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. Tied intelligence, all these new features, the ethical considerations, even the potential of AGI. It's a lot to process.
It is. There's a lot to think about.
Maybe now we can shift gears a little and talk about what all this means for different industries, for our lives in general.
Sounds good to me.
Okay, so before the break, we were talking about how all of these advancements, especially with GPT-5, could really shake things up in a lot of different industries.
Yeah, and it's not just industries. It could change how we live, how we work, how we learn, pretty much everything.
Exactly. So where do we even begin?
Well, a lot of people are talking about the workplace. You know, the whole idea of AI taking our job.
Right, that's a big concern.
But it's more complicated than that.
Okay, so how do you see it actually playing out?
Think about it this way. What if AI could take over all those repetitive tasks, the data entry, even some of the more complex analysis? That would free up humans to focus on the stuff that AI can't do, the creative work, the strategy, the stuff that requires human connection.
So instead of replacing us, AI is helping us, making us more efficient.
Exactly. Think about doctors, for example. AI could analyze patient data, help with diagnoses, and that would give doctors more time to actually spend with their patients, build relationships, focus on the human side of things.
That makes sense. It's about AI and humans working together, not against each other.
Right. And this could apply to creative fields too, like writing. Imagine having AI help you brainstorm ideas, get past writer's block, explore different ways a story could go.
So instead of being a threat to creativity, AI could actually boost it.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've got healthcare, we've got creative fields. What about education?
Oh, education is huge.
Yeah, I'm really curious about this one.
Imagine having personalized AI tutors that can adapt to each student's learning style, give them custom lessons, provide feedback in real time.
That would be incredible. It would make learning so much more engaging, more accessible.
Right. It could really level the playing field, make sure everyone has access to a quality education no matter their background or their challenges.
It'd be like having a personal tutor for every student.
Exactly.
This is amazing.
And then you've got things like scientific discovery and innovation. AI could help us analyze massive amounts of data, find patterns, speed up research in areas like medicine, climate science, space exploration.
It's like having a superpowered research assistant.
Yeah, it could really change the world.
This is all so exciting, but I can't help but think about the potential downsides too. Like, how do we make sure this technology is used for good? How do we prevent it from being misused?
That's the big question, right? And it's something we need to be talking about now. We need ethical guidelines. We need transparency. We need to make sure AI development is guided by human values.
So it's not just about the technology itself, it's about how we use it, the values we build into it.
Exactly.
Well, this has been an incredible conversation. We've gone from GPT 4.5 to GPT-5. We've talked about tiered intelligence, voice interactions, the canvas, real-time web search, deep research, AGI, the ethical considerations, even the potential impact on different industries. It's clearly we're on the verge of some major changes, and OpenAI is right at the forefront of it all.
Definitely.
They're pushing the boundaries of what's possible, and it's exciting and a little bit scary all at the same time.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it.
This is a conversation that we're all going to need to be a part of as we move forward, because AI is going to change the world, and it's up to us to make sure it changes for the better.
Absolutely.
So that's it for our deep dive into OpenAI's updated AI roadmap. Thanks for joining us.